Many people misunderstand the purpose or objectives of the National Environmental Policy Act. Contrary to what many believe, NEPA was not enacted to preserve the environment at all costs. Rather, NEPA was enacted to balance the environmental concerns with social and economic demands. It is my understanding that NEPA not only encourages but requires the federal government to work in a partnership with state and local governments regarding activities on public lands. This is to ensure that the needs and concerns, both geographically and demographically, are met. It is my understanding that these needs and concerns differentiate from location to location. Contrary to other laws, the National Environmental Policy Act is an evolving process. NEPA requires proper notification to all stakeholders, but it doesn't stop there. NEPA is required to solicit views and ideas from the state, local, and private entities. This in itself separates NEPA from the traditional laws. NEPA requires the adherence to procedures. First, there must be a notice of intent of any project on public lands. Then a scoping document is produced which identifies a proposed action of the project. This must be published on the Federal Register as well as published in the local papers for public notification. Keep in mind at this time all correspondence is required to be filed in the project record. There is an old saying, if it's not in the record, it never happened. When the scoping period is published, the public is also notified of comment periods which solicits ideas and concerns. This comment period during scoping typically lasts 30 to 45 days depending upon the project. This is where NEPA begins to differentiate itself from other laws. All comments provided from other agencies, state agencies, local governments, and private party stakeholders are gathered and evaluated to develop alternative approaches to complement these concerns. This process forces government agencies to collaborate and utilize best science in order to initiate the project. This process is used with the hopes to address social and economic concerns of the communities within and adjacent to the project area, as well as to create the least amount of negative impact to the environment. In fact, NEPA should drive most of the proposed actions towards improving the environment's current conditions. Currently, I work for the Payette National Forest, and we are one of 14 national forests funded to develop what is termed as a collaborative forest landscape restoration project, also referred to as CFLRP. The requirements of the CFLRP are to create a collaborative panel consisting of Forest Service personnel as well as state, local, and private sectors, allowing the opportunity to hearing their concerns and develop a unified approach to the proposed project. Keep in mind, the CFRP is also mandated to ensure we move the forest towards identified historical conditions, which entails improving wildlife habitat and security, watershed condition classes, aquatic organism passages, soil conditions on a landscape scale, and vegetation treatment opportunities through commercial thinning, non-commercial thinning, and prescribed burning operations. I have developed a PowerPoint presentation including the newly proposed Huckleberry Landscape Restoration Project, transitioning from the National Forest Management Act NIFMA process to the NEPA stage. Here I presented the proposed project area to the Payette Forest Coalition, also referred to as the PFC, and explained the current conditions in contrast to the desired conditions. In this slide, we identified the analysis area based on restoration opportunities. We identified vegetation management opportunities, identifying the potential vegetation groups or PBGs in acres. We identified the desired conditions based on the forest plan. compared to the desired and existing conditions. This includes the comparison of canopy cover and tree class size stands. Species compositions. Fire regimes. Spatial patterns and their arrangement. And fire management considerations to include values and assets. We identify potential treatment opportunities. Opportunities to improve wildlife habitat as appropriate. In most cases, wildlife makes up the last component because of the reliance on other resource findings. Watershed improvement opportunities. Explained our goals as watershed health. Taking a look at the watershed condition framework. Again, comparing existing conditions versus desired. Identifying the watershed restoration opportunities by sub-watershed. Identifying soils-based restorations on a landscape scale and their opportunities. We base these opportunities upon their capabilities and limitations. Some of these limitations are precip, soil water holding capacity, and the evaporative demand. This is all broken down by sub-watershed. Terrain suitability and potential terrain limitations, friable. Fisheries opportunities. Forest access and recreation for the private communities. Existing and desired conditions for dispersed camping. Trailhead conditions, their existing and desired conditions. Thank you for your time.